Welcome back to Mrs. Stewart's Crochet Club. We are starting a project. So I found this pattern at a thrift store and I thought this is fantastic because it is what's called a sampler Afghan. So this is 63 easy to crochet pattern stitches to combine to make an heirloom Afghan. So we are going to do all of these stitches together. We're going to try and follow it along, starting with number one. Number one is the single crochet stitch. And that is the basic stitch of crocheting. We're going to be starting with number one, and we're going to go through all the way through to all of these other complicated ones. They're only complicated if you think they're complicated. So we're going to get and develop. So we're going to develop some of our stitch knowledge, build our stitch directory, and this will help us in future projects. So let's get started. The needle or the hook that I'm using is 5mm. This is the size that I needed to equal a 7x7 square, 7" by 7" square. So this is maybe would be the same for you too, depending on your tension. The yarn that I'm using is, I took the band off already, but the one I'm using is Loops and Threads, and it is an acrylic yarn. And this one is a 4 weight. So you'd want to get something that's 4, which is like a standard size. You can get, my favorite is Brunette Premium, but I couldn't find all the colors I wanted. So I am using white. Here's the white. Sorry for the extreme close-up. White and green. Green and purple. Or I guess it would be called lilac. There is the lilac. And don't be mad. I couldn't find the color I wanted in Loops and Threads, so I skipped over to the Karen yarn, and I think it's the same size. So it looks like it's the same size to me. I might regret it later, but I think this is gonna be okay. It's all gonna be okay. Sometimes using the wrong different brands can affect the whole outcome of the project. So let's get started. So to start our pattern, so just actually I forgot to show you, I have a measuring tape. So we're going to be using our measuring tape to make it as close to 7 inches as possible. So start with a slip knot, pull that through, and it says to do 26 stitches loosely. Now, our interpretations of loose can be different depending on the person you're talking to. This is why we need the measuring tools to make sure that we have 7 inches. Here we go, 26. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Now pause, lay it down, and get your measuring tape, measuring tool, whatever you use to measure. And we're going to try and make sure that this is as close to 7 inches across as we can get it to be. This is approximately 7, and that will do. If yours is a little bit smaller than 7, but not by much, we are going to be adding a border, and we're going to be blocking these when we're done as well. So 7-ish, as close as you can. Okay, the next row, we're going to be doing 25 stitches across. So we're going to skip the first. And so this one is all single crochets all the way across. So skip the first and into the second one, that loop, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Go again, insert into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. One more. Through 2, insert through the hoop, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so we're just going to keep going down the line with single crochets all the way to the end. In the end, our stitch count is going to be 25 single crochets. Let's go right to the end here. Okay, just finish up the last few stitches. 24. And 25. Okay, just for funds, I'm going to get my measuring tool out again, my measuring tape, and just double check that it's still 7 or 7-ish. And that's just about perfect. Okay, so now for this to turn, it's very important that when you turn that you do a chain 1 for a single crochet. So chain 1, turn your work over, and we're going to chain, or we're going to stitch into the stitch below the chain. So we're not going to be going into that. We're going to go into the one below it. And we're just going to go across and do 25 single crochets across the whole length of this. Now you can keep track of your stitches. Just remember, when you get to the end, chain 1, turn your work, and then go back. I'll do a couple of rows with you, and then you can continue. Okay, so now we're come to the last stitch of this row. It can be a little bit tricky to see the exact stitch because of the first turning chain, the one that we went back on itself. So one thing that I like to do is I like to kind of turn my work. I can still see a V there. That means I'm not done yet. So I'm going to insert my hook below that one and finish the stitch, and that should be 25. Okay, we're going to continue like we just did the next row, or the last row. We're going to continue on. So chain 1, turn your work, and crochet across 25 single crochets. And you're going to keep going until you get this piece to be 7 inches long. Once you get back to once you finish that, come back and we'll work on the border for this square. It's a super simple square. I'll meet you back in a few minutes. Okay, so I have come to the end of my 7 by 7 single crochet square, and I've just measured it to double check. So it's 7 inches across, and it is 7 inches from the base to the top edge. It's as good as it's going to get without adding too much bulk. So this is where we're going to stop, 7 by 7, and now we're going to add a border to this. And the border is going to start with green, and then it's going to go to white. So you're going to need white after we do this part. Okay, so the instructions for the border are as follows. It says with right side facing. Now this one doesn't really matter because either side can be the right side. So we're just going to call this the right side. And it says chain 1. Work 3 single crochets into the same corner. So into that corner, you're going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And so this is like rounding the corner. So that turns the corner. So now we're going to do something I used to dread, which is single crochets down the side of this. So it says work 25 single crochets evenly spaced across to the next corner. So 25 single crochets, 1, and I just find a spot. So there's a spot there, 2, 3, don't be afraid of this, 4. I used to really fear. I would avoid patterns that asked to crochet down the edge. I don't know why. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 'Get my ball going here. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So I just was not too worried about being precise because it's all going to even out. You just find the holes. Okay, the next corner. So we're at the next corner, this space, and it says that we should do 3 single crochets into this space. So let's do that. 1, 2, and 3. So we're rounding the corner. And then we're going to do 25 across. We're going to try our best. I have doubts if this stitch count is correct in this pattern, but we're going to see. So it says work 25 evenly spaced to the next corner. So we're going to try and get 25 in here. And we're working into these little lumps. So this is from the this is from the chain edge that we did at the beginning. So that's the other side. Here's 1. So working into this lump, I want why I call it a lump, the bump. 2. A little bit tricky. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 8, oops, I got all tangled up. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and the last stitch is so tricky to find, 25. Okay, so I did 25 across. I'm not really happy with that stitch count. I don't really like the way that's played out, but I've got 25 across, and the next one is the corner. So here's the corner stitch. We're going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and turn the corner. So 25 down to the last corner, and we're going to be doing 3 single crochets into that one. Here we go. So looking for my spaces, there's a space right there, and I'm going to do a single crochet. 25, 1, next one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and the last one, 25. Okay, so the next stitch, this is the corner. We're at the corner now. We're going to do 3 single crochets into that corner. Now I find this a little bit awkward, but I'm just going to see. It's kind of at the base of this here. Let's just get it in. Right at the side. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, the last row, we're going to do 25 stitches across till we get to where we first started. 25. And this one's easy because we don't have to go through bumps and lumps and things like that. Let's pause for just a second. Okay, so this one got a little bit buried here, this first stitch here. We're just going to search it out. Yours might not be buried, but mine is. So that's going to be my first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and the last one, 25. Okay, so now this is for the green squares. The green squares have, the green and the purple square that I'm going to have are going to have a border of white or cream. So at this point in this square, we're going to snip our yarn and we're going to finish this off, and we're just going to finish off by pulling that through and tucking it aside. So right now, this is our square, and we're going to put a cream border on that, and that's going to help us when we assemble all our squares together. That's going to be our border color for the whole blanket. So I'm going to make a slip knot to begin. So it says that, I'm not going to store it in this corner. The pattern says that with this color, you're going to attach to the middle of any chain or any 3 cluster corner. This is my favorite of choices. So here's our corner. There's 1, 2, 3. In the middle one, we're going to insert our hook and we're going to join our yarn. And a lot of people have different ways of joining, and this is just what I do. I pull, let me move the scissors out of the way. I just pull it through and then I do a chain just to secure it. And this might, you have to pull it a little bit. Okay, so it says chain 1, 3 single crochets into this same stitch. So from this point, you're going to insert your hook into that same stitch that we're coming out of, and you're going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. So essentially we're making a corner within the corner. Then it says that we're going to go on with a single crochet in the next 27 stitches. So counting, and now this is where our stitch count will hold true or not. So 27 stitches, single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. Okay, this worked out perfectly. I was worried because I thought the stitch count in the pattern was wrong. Okay, so we did our 27 stitches across. Now we're at the corner again. So this is where the 3 were clustered together. We're at the middle of those 3. And in this one, you're going to do 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3. And then like this side, you're going to do 27 stitches across to the next corner and repeat the process. So let's go 27 stitches. All right. Keep crocheting. Don't even worry about these things. And make sure that I've got the right stitch. So I've done my 27. I'm back in the corner. I'm going to do 3 and then 27, 3 in this corner, and then 27. Meet me when you get to the end here. Okay, so I've made it around and the stitch count was perfect. I don't know why I doubted. I did doubt the pattern I was following, but the stitch count worked out really well. I finished my 27th stitch, and then we're going to just go through the first white stitch and with a slip stitch, slip it through, and then we're done. This square is finished. Snip your end and finish off. Now, sometimes I finish off by just pulling it, but I always feel like I like the extra security of looping one more through and pulling it tight. You don't have to do that, but I just like it that way. Okay, so that is the first square of our 63 square sampler blanket. It may not look exactly perfect, but we're going to be blocking these eventually at some point. So that will kind of pull it together. Now, here is the question. Did mine end up being 8 by 8? Let's see. Is it perfect? It is. I'm gonna squish it a little bit and say it's perfect. It ended up being 8 by 8-ish. Don't look too hard at the numbers, but it's close enough that when I make the next block, it will line up. So that is square number 1 of 63. I hope that you join me to continue these squares. We're gonna do it. I'm not gonna give up and leave you hanging. So this is square number 1. That is the single crochet stitch. That is the basic mother of all stitches. We're going to go on with square number 2. So square number 2 in the next video is my favorite stitch, the half double crochet stitch, and it's going to be using rose. I'm going to be using purple. Please join me, subscribe, turn on notifications and all those things so that you can catch up and you can go with me to do the half double crochet square. I am so pleased with that one being complete. And if you are new to crocheting, this is an excellent project to do. Great, we're gonna see if we matched. There is square number 1. Here is my square number 1 with the border. This one doesn't have a border. And I think it's right on. We did a great job. So the next one is going to look like this, very similar to that, but it's going to be a different crocheting experience. I hope everybody loves the half double crochet. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you with the next square number 2.